Hey guys, it's Heather. This is my persuasive speech for public speaking. About a month ago, there was a show on HBO that I watched. It was called Death on a Factory Farm. It was about a guy named Pete. I'm going to tell you about Pete first. Pete has changed his name twice due to the fact that he's gone to these big slaughterhouses and busted them for cruelty to animals. So for the safety of himself and his family, he's had to change his name and move several times. Pete is a vegan, and he just likes to make sure that these slaughterhouses are going by the rules. Well, this actual show was recorded in 2006 at a farm in Ohio. Pete had gone to this farm and told him he was having trouble feeding his family and that he needed help and that he had done slaughtering before. They hired him, and he took and placed a camera into his pocket and was recording the daily activities that were going on. It took a few days before he noticed the cruelty starting. From the start, he had noticed that the living standards for the animals were not up to par. The pigs, in particular, were kept in cages that were so small to where they had to stand all day. If the pigs actually fell, they had to stay in that position because there was no way for them to get up. This is actually a picture of the little houses, little areas they had the pigs living in. A nursing pig, they would basically tie her down to the ground and leave her in one of those little cages and put the babies in one beside it, and the babies had to nurse through the metal bars. If a baby pig was deemed to be unfit, which usually was because they were too small, they would take them and put them in a wheelbarrow and take them to a room filled with brick walls. The guys would all laugh and throw them against the walls, and this was intended to kill the pigs. Most of the time, though, and they would fall into a basket, but most of the time the pigs would still be alive and they would be in the basket crying. There also was one part to where there was this huge hog that he couldn't walk, and they had to hook him up and pull him outside. They chained him up and hoisted him in the air and hung him, and it took like 10 minutes for him to die. He was out there thrashing around and squealing, and it was just horrible. If the pigs die in a cell, they leave it there and put another pig in the cage with them, and the other pig would tend to eat the dead pig because they were hungry and not being fed properly, so this would cause diseases to be spread among the animals. Once the animals do die and they do decide to clean out the cages, they just put them all on the back of the farm and then just one day go out there and burn a big pile of them. So that brings me to my topic, which is obviously about cruelty to animals in these slaughterhouses. Slaughterhouses in the United States have laws that they must go by for the slaughtering of animals properly. There's 4 rules to this one law. The first that they can do is by chemical, which is where they asphyxiate the animal on carbon dioxide gas, and then they can bleed them. The second is mechanical, which is by a captive bolt, better known as a stun gun, which produces unconsciousness, and then they can bleed the animal. The third is mechanical by gunshot. That obviously kills the animal immediately. The final way is electrical stunning, which is slaughtering with electrical current, which causes an electrical anesthesia throughout the body, and then they could bleed the animal. To me, seems the most ethical way to do it would be gunshot, because it's immediate, kills them immediately, they feel no pain. The slaughterhouse owners say this way tends to be too expensive because they have to purchase all the bullets. There is one thing, the Slaughter Act of 1958 was the law that required that all animals be knocked unconscious with just one application and not have to be retreated. But for it to be strong enough to get them with one dose. But usually the problem is most of the farms do not want to go by this act, because they say that it takes too much time to have to go back and re-knock an animal out if it didn't take the first time. In the United States, there are 5,700 slaughterhouses where approximately 9 billion animals are slaughtered every year. The United States is the biggest state for slaughtering, the biggest country for slaughtering animals. Of the 9 billion animals that are slaughtered each year, approximately 45 to 50% of the body is actually edible. 10% of the body is waste, and then the other 40 to 45% is used for byproducts, either for leather, soap, candles, or adhesives. There is one person that has been a big impact on slaughterhouses, and that's Temple Grandin. She was born in 1947, and she was a big impact in the later part of the 20th century. She had also had a show that premiered on HBO that was pretty good. She had went to these farms and was trying to help find ways to help find calmness to the animals. She was autistic, and she felt like she could bond and could understand what their problems were. But Temple had put herself in the cows, how they felt, and she wanted to prevent these, which is where the cows are kept in big cages like this, and she had developed this to where the cows, it's more of like a maze to where they go through. And as you see right here on this part, she developed like walls here to where they could not see what was going on outside of them, to where when they walk, they just kind of basically look at the ground, and it produces less stress on the pig or the cows or whatever animal is being led to slaughter. But it would cause less stress, less suffering to the animals, and would therefore be more efficient and be more productive for the animals and the business. And what I was saying earlier about the mad cow disease was, since 2004, the Department of Agriculture has actually required that the animals walk to be slaughtered. The animals have to be investigated by a veterinarian. If they pass the test, which is where they can walk and other little things they have them do, but if they pass that, then it's fine for them to go ahead and walk out to being slaughtered. If they're tested and pass the test and then go to walk, they are required to be tested again. If they fail it a second time, then they said that sometimes they could, or if they pass it the first time, fail it the second time, they can still pass them on to go ahead and be slaughtered. And that's where they run the risk at the mad cow disease being transferred to humans. Mad cow disease affects the cows' brains and their nervous system. It makes them, the most common symptom is where they can't walk. Mad cow disease cannot be transferred to humans. We actually can get a form of it. There's actually only been 217 cases reported of cow disease, the branch of it actually affecting humans. Overall, I think this cruelty that's going on to animals in these slaughterhouses is really awful. I wish these slaughterhouses would go by the rules of what it is to kill these animals. There was a good saying that I found by Janet McCartney. She said that if the slaughterhouses were made of glass walls, then everybody would be a vegetarian. And I think that basically sums up this whole speech about animal cruelty. So that was my speech. Thank you.